Okay, good evening all. Welcome to the BATC Thursday Net. I see quite a lot of participants already signed up. I'll go through the list in a minute. The only parish notice I have is please don't forget to make an entry for the net in the BATC activity ladder and see if we can beat Arthur to the highest number of points. Remember, there are prizes for the competition, which closes at the end of the International ATV contest on 14th 15th of June, so please keep putting your entries in. John G7JTT is internetless. He's going to start, and then I've got Colin G4AML, Noel GTZ, Rob M0DTS if you can make it, Jen G4HEIZ, good to see you back Jen, Michelle HB9DUG, Mike G0MJW, Jim G0DQH, and Paul M0EYT. And as you see, I've now increased my power. I run low power to occupy the channel, but I don't like running my PA at that much power for a long time. It's at 44 degrees now, so time for me to shut up and pass it round to G7JTT.
Right, hopefully that's something there. There we go. Right, got myself. Yeah, apologies for that. As Dave has already said, our internet went down a couple of days ago, and I've been using my data on the phone, and consequently I'm now very close to running out of data, so I can't really do anything. Even with the chat, etc., it's getting that close to running out of data. So one of the joys, I guess, of not being in the modern world, or first world problems, whatever you want to call it, it's extremely frustrating for the XYL, as she's unable to watch her catch-up TV at the moment. So major issues, and the worst thing is I see the beta, well, the open breach engineer at the end of the road, and I said to him, he said, oh yeah, he said, yeah, it's a break in the car. Well, it was 2 years ago as well. He said, yeah, you'll be up and running again in half hour. Anyway, half hour went out there, still no, he'd already gone, and needless to say, still no internet. So that's a raise it, even though he said it was working. He's cleared the fault, but it wasn't. Anyway, I digress. I shouldn't say things really, but anyway, so that's where we are. It's been a bit of a disastrous week actually. I went to order a Raspberry Pi 4 and screen yesterday, no, day before, sorry. They should have been here today, and the particular company has let me down massively, because it said it's in stock. I ordered it, paid for it, and then got told that I got to wait until August till I get the Raspberry Pi 4, as they had none in stock. So needless to say, I've cancelled that order now, and I have another one coming to me hopefully for Tuesday. But yeah, all a bit of a pain. Did pick up, I've even got the memory card last night. I ran out and bought one of those locally from a store, and even that wasn't that easy, because I went into the store, went to pay cash, and they said, nope, you've got to do it all online. I said, you're joking? I'm here now, you've got them, can I not just, nope, won't do it, won't take cash, got to do it online. So I don't have credit cards, so that's a major issue. The wife's got one, but then you've got to go cup in hand to get her to pay for it. Anyway, so it's been one of those weeks, and I don't know what it's like out where you are at the moment. It's looking decisively stormy out there, so we could be in for some exciting weather tomorrow, or through the evening maybe. So with that, I'll pass it back if something else goes wrong. As Dave said, I can't see the chat at the moment, but I can receive the pictures, so hopefully be able to listen to it that way. Take care all, be around for a bit longer, and then it's back to the normal thing, back to work again. Anyway, right, back to you Dave. Oh no, whoever's next, I don't even know who's next, so apologies, G7JTT.
Yeah, good evening all, and thanks John, you good signal, no problems receiving you, so even though you can't see the chat, you're getting through okay, no problems at all. Yeah, okay, on your comments about the internet, I had sort of the opposite, well, almost the same as you, but it turned out to be a benefit earlier on in the week. I woke up the other day and my internet had gone off, a bit like yours by the sound of it. I took a stroll up the road and there was a chap in the hole mending the cables and he said, oh, you should have come straight back on again. So luckily I managed to catch him and he did actually fix it for me. And the benefit is they've run a brand new cable all the way down the street and I'm now getting the full 80 megs download speed, whereas previously I was only getting about 30. So it's amazing what changing a bit of cable does. Apparently the old cable was aluminium and the new one is obviously designed for the modern day, and it's gone from 30 megs download to 80, so it was well worth them doing it. So I'm glad that they did it. So but I nearly ended up the same as you, John. I nearly ended up without internet because I'm sure if I hadn't have gone and found the guy, he would have gone off and left me disconnected. He blamed it all on a bad crimp, of course, which is always the story. Okay, on your comment about Raspberry Pi stock as well, yeah, I think it gets up and down quite a lot. I think they're a pretty popular machine, so pretty popular board, so it tends to go up and down a lot. But it's a bit annoying when you think they've got something in stock and they haven't. Of course, can be a bit nasty. Not been doing too much radio this week, although I have made a few updates to the Langston, as you may have spotted if you've been watching the BATC website. Got a couple of improvements that have come along on there, which I will try and show a picture of here. There we go. It's monitoring 4 meters at the moment, and there's actually a local station on 210. So big main improvement has been I've added pop-up menus to the band and mode, which I shall now demonstrate. I can't talk and do that at the same time. So several people commented that they thought it was worth doing. So I've made those few changes, and it does seem to be working reasonably well. So let's cut back to the camera. How to upgrade, Mike? If you have a look on the BAT site, it does tell you, but you basically just go in and do log into the Langston directory /.upgrade or /.update. And it will update you. But Dave's also got some clever script built into his ports down code as well now to do the update. So there's two options. Right, that's about it from me at the moment. I'll put it round to Noel, I think, who comes next. G4 EML. Just trying to bring the
Yes, everybody. Um, good. Bring a bit more actually. Sorry, should have done this before the next. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Yes, everybody. Lobby on it. I've been doing a little upgrade. I think I've got some USB issues on the Bluetooth. Got some pretty strange effects with us flying and the USB going on with it. So I was hoping to show it, but I think that's probably the reason for the problem I've seen with no video on. Got to hold off until I sort board layout, I'm seriously thinking about taking the soldering direct on the printer board and putting it into the type A and with the bishop key USB sockets. It's definitely a bit dodgy, so can find that. Now thinking about my aerials last few days. I did a multi-band dish feed for micro bands, which has been very successful. Very pleased with that. And just been trading out the portable system. So I think it's probably realistic to do it. We'll be able to get portable hopefully in June. So with the new car, I'm just redesigning the portable system. So we had here for 5.6 stuff. Just doing a amplifier line and receiver and the splitter. So you can drive the TV and an band at the same time. So that's it. In the shack, it's like issues and what's going on and it's over around. Anyway, there you go. And I'll pass it on to Rob.
Right, let's see if this works. Oh, it does. Amazing. Right. Apologies before. Right. Seems to be working. So let's see if that comes up. Yeah. Loads of problems this evening. Is that still working? I can't see myself. Let's just give a little bit more power. Let's just make sure. Yeah, okay. 2 dB more. Right. That should be fine now. Okay. Yeah, endless trouble this evening. The Pluto decided to lose its hub, so it wasn't connecting to the network. That was problem number 1, and number 2 was the HDMI audio again. So today I've got a video switcher in line between the PC and the HDMI encoder box, and it seems to have fixed the problem. So yeah, we're up. So not a lot to report this week really. I've been working the last 4 days, so today is first day off. Let's think what I've been doing. I did upstate Langston, like the new menus and things. I like the auto discovery, that's a really good thing. We may in the future need option to select select the IP address of the one you want if you happen to have 2 on the network, but at the moment that's pretty unlikely, I think. Been playing around a little bit with 5.6, 5.7 gigs. I haven't done any more with this today, but I do plan on doing a little bit more. That's the beginnings of the RF part of the Langston for 5.7 gigs, so we've been tuning that up. I've bypassed the first stage for the moment anyway. But I am going to need that, I think. But that gives about 20 dB of gain at the moment and about 300 milliwatts, maybe a bit more. So it's quite a decent amount. It'll take the Pluto 0 dBm up to 100 milliwatts quite easily. But I'm going to have a bit of loss in cables and things, so that first stage will probably come in, but I'll add some attenuation in the middle. So I'll maybe get, 25 dB overall or something. So that board there comes out of a DXR 700 kind of some sort of telecoms transceiver, maybe 10-15 years ago. There's a lot of them kicking around that were modded on 5.6 at one point, but I never had a lot of luck with mine with the spurious coming out of it and various things. The receive side worked fine. So yeah, working on that to try and get transmit receive on the Langston on 5.6, 5.7. That's quite broadband as well, that thing. I've already got a preamp for 5.7 anyway, so that was made a couple of years ago, so working on that really, but otherwise not a lot else, unfortunately, so may have something else next week, you never know, of interest. Right, let's just have a look. Who is next? G4HIZ. Round to you. M0DTS.
Good evening, everyone. Let me just mute the sound on this thing. Oh. That's better. So I haven't been on for a while, been busy one way or another. Fortunately, able to work from home, do a little bit. But in the spare time, I've finished off my latest DATV system, which I can just give you a quick peek. I'm not actually using it at the moment. I'm using my traditional setup that I used last year at Finningley, if anybody remembers that. And I've got the new one sitting on top. Let me just move the camera. Forgive me for giving you all the shakes as I move it round. Here we go. So, as best I can show you. So the new system, I call it a system because it actually has the mini tuner in it and ports down transmitter. The mini tuner itself, I've mounted the tuner horizontally, and the ports down is fairly standard, except I have the controller, the Pi, on the back of the monitor. The case of the monitor is basically a box that I've carved out the front so that you can see the 7-inch screen, and all in all seems to be working out okay. I found that with the system that I used previously, that's fine. Quite big. It was dedicated for Oscar 100. It also has some power amplification in it, but this system that I've now made is actually made to operate on all bands, so it'll do everything. Hopefully I'll be able to get out and do a bit of portable stuff with it. Anyway, I'm going to put this back into this camera back into its normal place. Oops. That's it. Very hot here in the shack. We had about 29 degrees this afternoon. Very warm indeed. And what can I say? It puts you off doing much work. Anyway, okay. Well, I hope everybody's doing well and keeping active one way or the other. So I'll pass it to the next in line. I'm not quite sure who.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Good evening everybody. This is Hotel Bravo 9 Delta Uniform Golf, Michel from French part Switzerland. We just shut down the sound on mini tuner. So from last week I've been working on a GNU radio. I wanted to test a new version of a GNU radio called 3.8, and of course to test it I decided to use the GNU radio DATV transmitter. So it was a bit painful to have it working correctly. I was missing a lot of modules of my GNU radio installation. So, but tonight you see the result. So I'm transmitting with 8 box, B200, and I feed the box with the DATV DVB-S2 from on, and I have FM PEG, which is feeding my camera and sound to it. That was the work of all the week. And also I bought some new small module from a company called Skyworks. Very nice small amplifier, which I'm going to use for a new PA for Oscarson. So yeah, this is quite interesting. It's over 30 dB of gain, and it's really small, and you can get 2-3 watts out of it. So it's going to be nice to as the first amp of my new PA for QO-100. That's all I have done this week, and I will pass the mic. To G0 Mike Juliette Whiskey. I wish you a good evening, and the next turn I will show you the screens with the application running. Thank you.
Right, will it work? Oh, that's hopeful. Hello, Michael. Nice to see you. Missed going to Geneva earlier on this year. Right, let's bit of a picture of me. Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's okay. Not really done very much. I've been working all week, so it's been busy. Sorry about the audio level being low before anyone complains. Hopefully there's enough signal. If there's not, someone shout. I'm running quite a lot of power. I'm running nearly 10 watts, so it should be strong enough. Yeah, so anyway, moving on to interesting things. Ooh, is this going to work? Maybe. Yeah, okay, it had a little bit of a wobble there, but you should see this. So the first time I did the modification, Colin, I got this error. Other people may well come across that as well. I simply modified the config file. So what I did is I deleted it. I'll have to rewrite it with my own data again, then did update and everything worked fine. But it's been a long time since I updated it, so I probably needed a new config file anyway. So the question is now, does it work? So that's going to be the next test. And we will see. So let's get the other camera to point at it and see what happens. And let's have a quick go. So move the there a bit so we can see what goes on. Of course, it needs to update, so I think you have to reboot. Interesting.
Okay, good evening everyone. G0DQH. Hope I'm coming through alright. I can hear myself coming back, so just turn the volume down and go over to the camera. I'm using my old analog camera tonight from the old analog days. About 20 years old, but still works, but not as good as what's in the PC, of course. The good news is the new PA has arrived, and if you look at just to the left of me, you'll see that I've actually started building the PA. It's a bit unusual design in that it's out of a Lorenz inverter, and there are heat fins, or rather cooling fins, all the way up inside. There are two and then one sucking, and I'm adding that large fan on the top of the PA. I've yet to fit the driver PA, but I'll probably do that tomorrow, and hopefully this will be operational by next week. So I'm a little bit concerned about the temperature rise. It's nearly 25 degrees inside the cabinet, so my signal is actually still holding up, which is good. And this was the reason for the change of the PA, of course. Okay, that's about it from me. It's a short over, but I don't want to start seeing the signal going up and down, which it will do if the PA overheats. So that's my over and done with. Geez.
Right, evening everyone. Hope everyone is well. You should notice that no expense has been spared tonight with camera illumination, so you can see hopefully a good quality picture. I've been at the salt mine a fair bit this week, so I've only had a small amount of time, but on the project list are 32 gig receiver or down converters for amateur DSN stuff, the first unit here with a PLL, LO and all that sort of stuff, and then the second unit, which is made of chopped up 30 gig VSAT equipment, which is good. Dual band radio went pop and a power supply problem developed, so I've had it to bits, and I've isolated the fault down to where is it, a supervisory IC that wasn't giving a reset pulse to the processor on boot, so got another one of those in order. I was given this awesome thing, but it has a broken edge connector, so need to fix that at some point. If you're wondering what it is, it's a 16K RAM pack for a ZX81. And finally, on DATV topics, I bought one of these things off eBay. It is a USB hub, apparently, to use with Ethernet and the memory card for the scripts to modify the Pluto file system. It works for about a day and a half, and then the Pluto simply falls off the network and needs power off on. So not quite sure what is going on with that. Probably won't be back for the next over. It's our wedding anniversary today. 9 years of my life gone. But I need to go and have a drink with the wife, otherwise I'll probably end up getting strung up somehow. So nice to see everyone on the net, and I will probably catch you next week. Mike 0 Echo Yankee Tango.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen. I hope that this thing works tonight. I've tested it thoroughly during the day, but just before the net, I noticed there's some stuttering in the audio. Don't know whether it's just local here or not. Dave, thanks for letting me in on such short notice. I'm not quite familiar with the ropes yet. I haven't got anything to show really tonight. I have 3 questions. I'm watching the chat thing, so if my audio is up to megahertz, you can let me know, Dave. the first question, we trying to get ZS6 Yankee India going as well. He's very, very close. We've done some short tests, and he's busy assembling his mini tuner at the moment. Now, I'm using the ports down and the mini tuner. They both work very well. On the Easy Cap, there is also an S video input, and I managed to find, after a lot of searching in the shops around here in Worcester, in South Africa, an S video cable, because I have several cameras with S video output, and I tried it and nothing. So is there some mysterious setup or something that you have to do to get audio, or at least to get S video into the ports down via the Easy Cap? Because I just get nothing, just a black screen. That's question number one. Question number two. H264/H265. They tell me that this is now for OBS with the Pluto. DD0 Charlie Whiskey was kind enough to send me his INI file on his OBS so that I can see what the general setup is that he's using. But I don't find any reference in there to 264 or 265. So it's a very grey area for me. Some people say it's inherent to the type of card, graphics card that you have. Some will do 265, some will do 264. Please, can somebody enlighten us there? That was question number two. 264, 265. Where do you switch it, or is it just you have a card that does 265, or you have a card that does 264? My last one, my last question, the new Pi camera. The new Pi camera with the interchangeable lenses. Will that work on the ports down straight as it is with 2019 firmware, or with 2020 firmware, or do you need something else? It's that new 12 point something megapixel camera, because they are available in South Africa now. I have loads of lenses to fit onto it, but yeah, it's a relative price, so we don't want to waste money on something that's not going to work on the ports down. So, gentlemen, thanks very much for letting me in. I'll be standing by to listen to all the comments. Thanks very much from ZS1 Mike in Worcester, 70 miles from Cape Town.
Okay then, let's just wait for that to sort itself out. I had some trouble with my audio then, just then actually. I don't know if it's my receiver or not. It's hanging in there now. We've got a wider shot to show the shelves. So, I normally don't have a wide shot on, but I thought today. So yeah, it's been a busy week actually. Lots been going on in the ATV world. I've mainly been playing with. There's been a lot of Pluto stuff actually. Playing with the Pluto and using the NVIDIA graphics card that's in my computer. I figured I should have a go with that. It took me a little while. Well now, but I've only got it really working well at 1 mega symbol. I'm not using it now, I'm using a port stand now because it's my go-to thing really. Oh, hang on.
Oh, did you lose that? You lost all that audio, did you? Is my audio disappearing as well? Came back on there. But yeah, I've been playing with the Pluto, and obviously last night we had a go with the Langston. I've got that here. This can be fraught with danger. This can be fraught with danger. I've been listening to the narrowband. I've been listening to the narrowband. This doesn't always go well, this idea, changing cameras, but let's just see if I disappear. Hopefully not. It's hanging in there, I think, so we should be okay. There we go. I've actually been listening to the narrowband on the Langston, which is a bit of fun, really. I can't do it now because I've switched to 18 volts, and I need obviously 12 volts to to see what's going on there. But yeah, it's been having a bit of a play with it. So there we are, and I've got the ports down on there. I took the precaution. Oh, hang on. What happened there? I disappeared for a moment. I see. When I get lost, it takes the mute off. Oh, I see. Okay, that's all right then. Took the precaution of taking a little video of earlier. Let's see if that's going to play ball. It might do. It might not. There we are. This is earlier this evening, so had a little go at using the receiving capabilities. There we go. There we are. That's Rob earlier. Works very well indeed. I've actually had a two-way with Steve 2E08XAY transmitting on this Raspberry Pi 4 ports down version, and me receiving him on the Langston version. Well, same version. That worked well. Sometimes I get a bit of a drop there. Oh, I've survived that time. It doesn't really like me changing input sources. Right, I won't come back on because I've had it long enough on this over, so I won't come back on because we'll be probably pressed for a bit of time. So I'll say 7.3 to everyone. But yeah, it's been a good week actually. Good week. What I've got to do is to learn what parameters on every software that I need to fiddle with, and in OBS as well, because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing to make things work. I've happened across something, and I cheated a little bit by going wider. If I go to the bigger symbol rates, it seems to make life. I think you can have more things wrong and it still works. So we've having a little play with that, and I can switch between H.264 and H.265 quite easily on the OBS, so that works quite well, doing it as a recording. So yeah, very impressed with that actually, very impressed indeed, so that's very good. Okay, that's it. I'll say 7.3s. G4KLB is going to risk it. It's going to risk a task card. I have some funny issues with that switcher, but anyway, 7.3s. Catch you all next week. G4KLB.
Well, that was quick. Good. Good evening, all. Let's turn that down. Yes, some really interesting stuff going on there. What I wanted to show you was the Langston. This has been most of my week as well. This is my Langston sat on the bench here. I've been watching the whole net on it tonight. Not using a PC. I find it far easier on here. So come out of receive. I've been taking screenshots of what everybody's been doing. So if you go to menu 2, snap check, there's Colin. Touch the left side of the screen. Sorry, wrong place. There we go. All sorts of different screenshots of people. There was some chat about the Langston update. If you go to menu 3, Langston configuration, there's now 4 buttons on mine. There's only 2 on the production version. There'll be 4 later. To update the Langston, here, this is risky, doing a software update online. Press update Langston. and it's done. So that's the easy way to update the Langston. Let's go back to receive. It does transmit. Yes, I've tried that this afternoon with the Lime SDR. Seems to transmit okay there. Haven't tested everything, but it does look pretty good on the transmit front. Just make sure I'm there. Yeah, there we are. Good. We seem to be having a shelves evening. I don't really know whether to turn the camera around, but I will. On the shelving front, not behind me, but loads of IKEA Kallax is my shelving. Oh, sorry about that. Right. Leon, you asked some questions. To use the S-video input, on the front of the ports down there's a video input selection. You need to select S-video and it should then work. So that's on the front of the ports down. I meant to show you. Second button up on the left hand side, it says EasyCap Config or EasyCap S-video. H.264, H.265, it's all a function of how your PC does the coding. You probably won't manage H.265 unless you've got the specific NVIDIA graphics card. The Raspberry Pi Cam high quality does work with the ports down. However, most of your old Vidicon lenses will be telephoto because it's a very small image size. But it does work, I've used one. Congratulations to Paul on your wedding anniversary. We won't call you in again. And as for ZX81, I don't think I'll comment. Raspberry Pi stock, yeah, Farnell are out, whereas CPC Farnell have hundreds, so it's not an issue. So order from CPC Farnell is the answer. Right, I've had far too long. I'm going to put it round to John G7JTT for the next over. G7JTT to take it, G8GKQ and the BATC net.
Sorry. Right. Yes, there were a couple of things I was going to say. Colin, 80 me. I can only dream of speeds like that. Luckily, well, I'm lucky if I get anywhere near 20, to be honest. We were only getting about 5 or 6 before the thing went wrong completely. So yeah, lots of people tell me about this magical 80 on their fantastic stuff. The problem is where I live, the estate is only I think we're into our 5th year now, but when they built it, it was about 6 months before they changed the regulation which said that you had to put fibre in, and they didn't. They went for the cheaper option and run copper, and consequently we're never going to get it unless they dig up all the road. Longmin, everyone's showing their Longmin. I can't do anything with the camera today, so I've had to take pictures, but for Rob and others, I can only say thank you for all the help everyone gives everybody. This is basically what mine, eventually when it gets there, is now showing the info page. So that was on Jim's. So you've got caller ID, provider, the QO-100 frequency, which will give you the frequency if you're in spec. If you're outside of spec, it just says not applicable. Is that going to focus a bit more? Modulation type. The SR now is exact rather than a great long number. MER, the required MER, the D number, nulls on the video, audio type, video type, and it also tells me that it's locked DVB-S2. So all that's running. I've enjoyed doing it, to be honest. For someone that's a complete numpty when it comes to this, as I said, I can't remember what I said to you, but basically the only stuff I ever learnt was basic back in the early 80s. So for Paul showing the ZX81 earlier on, that was the sort of stuff we were doing. The first computer I ever owned was a Z80, but it wasn't a Z80 as in a Spectrum Z80, it was a Z80 board. So a friend of mine's uncle worked at a company that had these demo stroke development boards, whatever you want to call them, and you basically had to plug all these chips into it, and you spent hours upon hours upon hours put hex code into it just for it to either count up or count down, or I think it used to do adding and subtraction or something as well. But anyway, it was just an incredible thing. So that's about as much as I've ever done. So of late it's been a kind of joy actually to do all this. For Paul, only 9 years, blimey. You've got a long way to go, mate. I don't know exactly how many I've been done, but it's certainly more than a life sentence. In fact, it's certainly more than several life sentences, plus I think it's about 35 years now or something like that. So I'm sure I'll get reminded closer to the day. I'll also, Paul, if you're listening, you're the only one I didn't get any call or provider for, so maybe that's not setting your settings at home. And yes, I think Farnell has none. And they didn't say that when they ordered the damn thing, but they have none now. So anyway, and they're going to refund me, but they don't know quite when. Maybe in a couple of days, maybe in a week or so. Anyway, that's life. Another one order should be here by Tuesday, so hopefully I'll get a chance to do that. And that's probably about it actually. Enjoyable. It's all back to basics here because I've got no internet. And oh, that's one other thing just quickly. Because I don't have internet, my router won't turn the Wi-Fi on. So I can talk to certain things because I've got two networks. I've got one hardwired network and one's obviously the Wi-Fi network. But certain things that I need to be on the Wi-Fi network won't work to be able to get my normal system going. So anyway, the joys and fun of living in the countryside, I guess. So with that, back to whoever's next, G7 JTT.
Yeah, fine, John, from G4EML. Yeah, all received, and no, I didn't. Some people were commenting that your audio was dropping in and out, but it was fine with me all the time, so no problems. I did have problems with ZS1MM's audio; it kept dropping out with me, but I think it's down to the whatever you're using to do the receiving. I think I'm going to have to do the upgrade on my Langston and get the Longmind software running on it, and then I can give that a try. But it does seem to be a bit intermittent, the sound. Strange, you'd often think sound would be easier to do than video, but it seems to be the other way around usually. I think it's we're trying to squeeze the sound in on an already full channel probably, which is not helping. Not many other comments, I don't think. Mike demonstrated that you don't do a demo live on air because something's bound to go wrong, but hopefully you'll get the Pluto sorted out. Mine's been behaving itself a lot better since I've been powering it directly from 5.2 volts. It did not like it when it was always on the USB connection, but it's a lot happier now. I've started running it from an external power supply, but I think they're all a bit flaky on that. I think it takes about 500 milliamps, so that's the. It sounds like you're in a video codec problem, so that's obviously a different issue with the sound of it. Right, I don't think there's much else to comment on. Interested in Michelle's GNU radio pictures there. They were coming through very well indeed, so I was quite impressed with that. I'm learning about GNU radio quite quickly, playing with it just recently, and it can be quite powerful, although some things do consume a lot of computer power. So you have to be a bit careful what you implement sometimes, especially when you're trying to run it on a Raspberry Pi. Right, that's it from me. I think it goes round to Noel again, if you're still there. G4.
Um, okay. Yeah, my license down system is sick at the moment. I'm also carrying on as I say, I've got used on Bluetooth and certificate to sort out. So I'll be working on that next week. So yeah, this week. Yeah, most people see this, but yeah, I put 60 gear is a sort of really people can put. So that's the preamp first box. Preamp in stocks here. About 1.5 dB noise figure. The front panel. So it's not too bad. But I'll just look up between the arrow and also the true receiver. I'll play around the second stage in that box and sort of throw a filter in while I was at it. And in one of these, which if you want to for 5.7, but I've got an arcade in front of it. I think I'll get away with it. So I play around the basis. The other thing really here also and my can dish with loads and loads of aerials all multiple contest of rigging the replacement car for a master system and the bench and everything. So there's a play going on here. And all these people saying they get more of that. I can't understand it. Anyway, there we go. Just pan around. There's a sitting in the corner and no one would have fully played. So, right. Okay. Yeah, that's it for me. Good night to everybody else. All good interesting stuff. And I'll catch you again next week. GDB.
Okay, where's me options? I always forget which options there on OBS. Right, yeah, interesting stuff all the way around there. Paul's probably gone now, but that's exactly the same problem as I had on my radio in the van. It's I think it's an ICOM 270, was it? Something like that. It's got the separate head unit that has video in and things. That was the supervisor reset to the CPU that wasn't working, and the radio just wouldn't power on. You'd press the power button, and like 3 hours after turning it on, or trying to turn it on, it would actually go bloop 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 and power on. So I ended up getting a replacement chip and dead bug style attaching that one inside. So that fixed that. So yeah, interesting. I wonder if it was the same radio. Looked similar. What else? Yeah, that's quite a good noise figure on your preamp, no? On 5.7, I think I got 0.7 dB is the best I could make on the LMB board converted into the 5.7 preamp. So quite impressed with half a dB. That's really good. Something else to mention. I think, or was it? No, I mentioned that last week, I think. Yeah, I put the screens network cable up the mast for the having the Pluto at the top. and basically that worked a treat. So I can't really detect any spurs or noise on 2 meters from the Pluto at the top of the mast on the network using the screen network cable. But I did have to have one ferrite right near the Ethernet adapter on the cable. But the cable actually passes like through the middle of the 2 meter Yagi. It's slant on the pole, and the cable goes straight up through the middle. So that was quite surprising. So yeah, I'll tell you what I did get. This is just for reference for Colin here, possibly. I've got one of these cheap 7-inch screens from the usual sources to the east. HDMI, USB micro for the touch and power. I've been having a few issues with power and things, but you can force it to 800 by 480 and manipulate the touchscreen coordinates to make it work with Langston as well. So it is possible to make one of them work relatively easily, although I was having a few issues with power, and I did break something in the code at the end, so I had to kind of revert back, but it will function. And that is actually you can get the same res as the Raspberry Pi one, but that's actually slightly higher res, 1024 by 600. So just for reference anyway, they can be made to work, and they're quite a bit lower profile compared to the Raspberry Pi one. I was looking to get it in as big a screen in a smaller box as possible on the front panel, so that was the reason for getting one of these. And these, well, they're about half the price really, so, or thereabouts. So yeah, I'll keep you noted on that if I do any more work on it. But, it's kind of future planning to put it in a box. I don't think there's anything else to add really. Playing around with a bit of code to do with the GUI, Colin, but I don't know whether I'll get very far with it or not. I'm just kind of experimenting with some code to kind of make it a bit more automated on how it creates the buttons and scaling versus screen size and things like that. So it may be of use in the future, but at the moment there's not a great deal there, so not much to show. Rather than using the reallib, I did look at that and then tried to get it to work on a Pi 3, and I couldn't get it to work on a Pi 3, even though it's meant to work. So kind of abandoned that and went back more to basics. So we'll see how far we get with that. But I would like to use it with some other projects, so I thought it was worthwhile pursuing there. So yeah, I think that's about it. So 7.3s to all on the net tonight, and we will, let's think, I'll be finishing work on the Thursday next week, so I'll probably be a bit late getting on the net next week, because I'll be finishing on the Thursday night at sort of 7, half 7, so I'll probably going to be getting home like 7:45, 8 o'clock, so we shall see how that goes. Hopefully better than this evening. Right, okay, I think that is round to G4HIZ, so good night to all, M0DTS. There was one little thing I was going to show, just briefly. There. Forgot about that. That's the kind of arrangement I'm planning with the mass-mounted Pluto and Langston, by the way. So apologies, Jen. There. You were just about to flick the switch, and then I remembered that. So that's what I'm planning. I've just drawn that up quickly in the gap in between while I was watching the others. So yeah, I'm kind of planning on making like a triplexer to come out on, I could basically duplicate it twice. Probably just use some surface mount filters. There's loads and loads of TDK surface mount filters you could stick on a board with some 50 ohm track and probably do what we need to do, rather than using more switches, you see. I thought it was just a different way of doing it. Plus you get some filtering in there as well, so I thought that was probably a good idea. So yeah, and I've got like a 6-way coax switch for all the different ports, so you get good isolation between transmit on one and all the receives on the other. So there's about 70-80 dB on the coax switch. So there we are. Right, overstayed my welcome now. 7.3 M0 DTS round to G4HIZ.
Let's just kill the audio. Boom, boom, boom. That's better. Change of view. G4HIZ back for a quick one. Yeah, I don't need any more shelving. I need a bigger shack. Trouble is, every time there's a radio rally, we end up increasing it by another 5 or 10% with bits and pieces we keep getting and stuff we're building and all the rest of it. Anyway, very nice to see newcomers on tonight, especially Leon, ZS1MM, and look forward to seeing plenty of others as well. Anyway, nothing more to say from this end really, except I've had to resort to the antidote to the heat, which is a nice pint of English bitter, Bishop's Finger, in fact, very nice. So I'll say 73s to everybody, and with a bit of luck might see you next week. And thanks Dave GHEKQ for running the net, and look forward to seeing you next time round. So I'll pass it round to, I believe it's Michelle, HB9 DUG.
Waiting for my picture on Nituner. I don't see myself right now. What happens? Well. So I'm running a GNU radio. As somebody said before, you need quite a powerful PC. So I have 8-core 3.4 gig to run GNU radio. So basically, here is the here you have the DVS2 transmitter from GNU radio, and on that side I have a script file which make the transport stream with FFmpeg using the NVIDIA GPU of my PC. I have also the nice web interface, so it runs very nicely without any problem on the Linux platform using Mono, and I run also PS Reader, so I can control what I'm doing. Yeah, David is asking for an article in yes, why not? Why not? Well, what I've done, in fact, for tonight, I've made a very simple script file, just running the profile for the BATC net. I was sure it was a fake half fake, but I see that everybody's running a bit higher, but it's not an issue. I've also made, I'll put the link on the chat. I've also made 3 years ago at Amradio a presentation of what I've called all-in-one, which was experimental solution only based on SDR software, so with GNU radio, FFmpeg, and for receiving with the French guide software. I don't remember for DVBS2. So I will put the link. You will have a presentation. You have also all the zip files. That one is more complex because from the script file I sent to the DVBS transmitter the FEC, the sample rate, modulation I want, and then the take care of it. So you have to edit the Python file with some extra parts to make it work. Voilà is what I had for this evening. Thank you all for watching, and I wish you a 73 to all on net. Keep safe, even if it's called déconfinement in French, and be careful. And thanks to David running the net, it's really superb. The nice thing with GNU Radio is that I pre-program a few frequencies, a few channels of QO-100, and I can switch in less than 1/10 of a second from one channel to another one. And that gives me some ideas with the reception side to do frequency hopping to find automatically a free channel. Okay, bye for now. Thank you very much.
Okay, right. I hope this thing works. I only get myself a D3 at the moment, but things should warm up just now. Okay, Dave. Yeah, sorry about that. I found the button. I never looked there. I looked, the selection between easy cap and this and that, but I didn't realize you must look inside the easy cap as well. It's also got options. Never bothered to look there. Thanks very much for showing out my stupidity. Okay, thanks Michelle for the link that you've also sent me on the chat box. And yeah, okay, Dave, as I say, I've got a whole selection of lenses, and they are for small chips, CCD. $16 to $90mm and things like that. So that's not a problem. Oh, really? Yeah, I've lost my mute. And okay, the SVO is sorted. The 264, 265, we'll just have to read more. It seems that it's not so simple. And the PyCam, you say you have tried it, so wonderful. So it's safe to buy it. It will work with a nice long ribbon, not that simple short little thing. You must be able to move the thing around. Okay, gentlemen, it's late. We are past the time, so I'm giving it back to Dave. I hope my audio was not too bad. I don't know why it's doing it now. Earlier today it was perfect. I specifically tested. There's no reason why not. I run the same symbol rate as everybody, the same FEC 2.3, enough power, D7 now. So I don't know why I'm getting this in the evening, not during the day, or sometimes I have no idea. But anyway, cheers everybody, 73s, and thanks for the info and having me. Bye bye from Worcester.
Good. Okay. Let's just make sure I'm getting out. Something going on there? Yes. Okay. Right, Leon, I think maybe your audio level is a bit high for the EasyCap. I think maybe you're putting a bit too much audio into the EasyCap, and the AAC processor, which is never very good, is tripping up on it. So maybe turn the level down a bit if you can. Yeah, it's easy to miss these buttons, but there it is. Mike MJW, yeah, there's been a forum thread running for a few days about the Portsdown A27 version. It is a special version for Langstone, and it builds on top of the Langstone. So it takes Collins install and builds on top of it without screwing it up. Rob, that screen looks interesting. Grateful for a link to what the spec is for it, especially as it's cheaper and higher def. Could be a good idea. And yeah, scaling touchscreens, yeah, it's very easy. I've been doing a fair bit of coding with absolute coding for touchscreen positions on Portsdown just to get it working, but it would be nice to actually scale it to width of screen and height of screen. But it's all more work. So I think that's all I have for tonight. Please do put your entries in on the ladder, and by all means, if you want to go through and claim every individual person you've worked during the net, why not? Let's do it. And please start thinking about where you're going to go portable on the contest within the constraints of government guidance. I'm just getting all my kit sorted out for the contest now. So closing the net for a free-for-all, and thanks very much for coming up. See you all next week. Same parameters, this all seems to work, everybody can do it. G8 GKQ in Salisbury. Good night.